Okay, guys, so you ready to work? Are you ready to work? Yes, we're ready to work. We're going to put these mindsets to work and see if you can make some progress on some challenges that you face in your business right now. So some of you heard the fundamentals that lie behind this workshop yesterday in my keynote, but some of you did not. So I'm going to do a quick refresher here. There are 6 entrepreneurial mindsets that are the outcome of 20 years of research I've done that make entrepreneurs fundamentally different than all the people that work in your companies back home. I know you're trying to drag them kicking and screaming into the future, but there are these 6 things that make entrepreneurs different. And briefly, I'll review them here because we're going to put them to work. Okay, so the first one is entrepreneurs say, yes, we can. So when some idea comes up to do something that doesn't exactly fit the normal things your company does, or maybe doesn't draw on its current competencies, people in big businesses say, no, we shouldn't do that. That's not what we do. But entrepreneurs go, yeah, we can do that. And then they figure out how. That's the first one. The second one is that entrepreneurs think about solving problems, not tweaking products. Okay? So they focus on a problem, find a problem to solve, rather than saying, this product, and now this product, and this product, and this product. Coke, Coke Zero, Coke New, Coke Old, Coke, what are we going to get? Coke Blue next, do you think? Green, who knows? Think narrow, not broad. Your companies need big opportunities to move the needle because they're big companies. Who'd want to bother with a little opportunity that isn't big enough? But Phil Knight, when he started Nike, didn't worry about the fact that his target market was only a few hundred elite distance runners who could run 4-minute miles. Needless to say, that business grew quite nicely. So entrepreneurs don't worry about the fact that that little target market at the beginning might not be big enough by itself, but it might take you somewhere very interesting. And then the fourth one, ask for the cash, ride the float. Elon Musk asks for cash up front for every car he sells. So when the Model 3 was introduced a few years ago, 5,000 people put down $1,000 deposits to reserve a Model 3. That's a cool $500 million in cash before the very first Model 3 was even begun to be constructed. Beg, borrow, but please don't steal. So big companies assume that if we want to do something new, we have to invest. We have to make a factory. We have to build another new retail store. We have to do all kinds of things. But entrepreneurs know that entrepreneurship is highly uncertain and the venture might not work. So why would you invest if you could just borrow what you need, and then maybe later you figure out, okay, now I'll build it once I've proven that demand works. And then finally, entrepreneurs don't ask permission. If Travis Kalanick had asked permission in San Francisco to start Uber, we wouldn't have Uber today, I dare say. He didn't ask permission, he just continued on with the business, and then if you need to ask forgiveness later, you find a way to do that. Okay? So that's a quick overview of what we did yesterday. So these, I say, are mindsets, and by mindset, here's what I mean. A mindset is this collection of sort of things up here in our brains, attitudes, habits, and so on, that predetermine how we react to situations that come our way. And if you have these 6 mindsets, or even some of them, you're more likely to be able to innovate and do some new things, just as entrepreneurs do. Okay, so I finished yesterday with 3 questions. Question 1, does one of these mindsets already live within you? Quite possibly it does. Is there one of these or more than one of these that you could teach to your team? Quite possibly so. And number 3, what we're going to do here is what can you learn to apply to a challenge that you face in your business today? Which one of these 6, or maybe more than one? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You have a big piece of paper at your table, and the top half of it looks like this, right? So what you're going to do, please, is take a few minutes now to put some tick marks on that piece of paper. So here's what I'd like you to do. Think about the first row. Yes, we can. Okay, so if there's something that you think has potential, but it doesn't really fit what your company does, but you think it ought to be pursued anyway, maybe yes, we can is something you could act on now. So you put a tick in the act now column. Let's see, I think I have a pointer here. So you're going to put a tick right there, okay? Or maybe it's problem first, not product first logic. Maybe your company is bogged down tweaking its product line extensions and product variations, and you'd like it to get to think a bit more about solving problems rather than creating products. Well, if that's an issue that could help you with something now, put a tick in act now. Or if you want to push it off into the future, maybe that's an act soon, or maybe hang on for later, and so on. All right? Is it clear? This is really rocket science to fill out the top half of this sheet, right? Is it clear what you need? You need a tick mark on each row in any column on each row. You have 5 minutes to do that, please, individually. Go. Okay, I lied. I didn't give you 5 minutes. Entrepreneurs work fast, right? So you're probably pretty much there. Now what I want you to do is take that Act Now column, and hopefully you have at least one tick mark in that column. If you have one tick mark or more than one tick mark, I want you to circle the tick mark that's the most urgent for you to deal with now. And then what you're going to do at your table is you're going to take somebody's circled tick mark. So table 30 here, for example. One of you has a circled tick mark. What I'd like you to do is go to the next part of that page and create a little action plan for how you're going to actually make some progress on that with the help of your table mates. Okay? So, exactly what are you going to do? Who's going to do it? Where is it going to be done? Your businesses do business all over the world. Maybe you're going to do it in some out-of-the-way place where it's safe to make mistakes. When's it going to get done? Set some time, milestones perhaps. And what do you need in terms of resources to actually get it done? All right? So I'd like you to take maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes, maybe 10, to fill out your little action plan for dealing with your Act Now issue with the help of this really good advisory group that you have around your table. And then when you've done that, I want to hear a couple of them. All right? Is the task clear? Task clear? Are we good? Okay, let's go. Okay, may I ask you to pause for a minute? Let's have some fun here, and let's figure out how many people put a tick mark. Oop, I got to go back here. How many people put a tick mark on that first row for yes, we can in Act Now? Show of hands. Okay, I think that's 37. How many put it in problem first? Oh, that looks like 51. How many did ask for the cash and ride the float? Not so many. See, you got plenty of cash. You don't have to ask for the cash. Think narrow, not broad. How many Act Nows there? Oh, that's about 47, I think. Beg, borrow, but please don't steal. Oh, not very many. 10. And never ask permission. How many? Oh, you're game to try that in your companies. Okay, really cool. That looks like about 27. Cool. So, do we have a volunteer that has prepared a plan using the second half of the form that would be willing to share your plan? Do we have a volunteer? And then we'll do a couple of more plans at your table. Come on, surely there's a volunteer. Do you need more time to finish your plans? Is that what it is? Okay, I'll give you 5 more minutes. Go. Okay, guys, guess what? We have a volunteer from table 25 who will present her plan. So, Katarina, can you throw her the box? Who's going to catch the box? Are you ready? You're ready enough, though. Okay. So, we're going to hear a plan for how to put, which tick mark is it that you are working on a plan for? Good catch. Which tick mark?
The Act Now.
Yeah? Which line is it on?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
So there's something going on in your organization that ordinarily people would say, no, we're not supposed to do that. But you're going to say, aha, yes, we can, and here's your plan. So please tell us about your plan.
Okay, so the challenge was around how can product launches be done more effectively and using outside-the-box initiatives. It's not a matter of we don't want to do that. It's more a matter of doing it traditionally until now. So it's time to challenge that. Yes, we can do it more in a more uncommon way. So who will do that? I think it's my team that should be driving this initiative.
Cool.
Product marketing.
Ownership is step one, right? That's great. Okay.
And of course needs the sales involvement, because at the moment I feel like it's working a bit in silos. Like me, marketing, I'm not really connected to sales. Who is using my materials to go to customers? Where will it be done? I would say virtually, considering this is the structure of the organization, and we are operating in all the regions, so everyone is everywhere. Was thinking maybe to start with the pilot first, like just
Good
to
idea.
bring a bit more different initiatives here. When will it be done by? I would say that it should be like a trial and error, so let's just hope by the end of 2024 there will be like some
2024?
3.
2023? How about next week?
I mean, I definitely want to like make
You
sure.
don't have to finish next week, but you could start next week. And then you could have a milestone for next month and a milestone for 90 days. And then maybe you get done in early 2023.
Okay.
Okay, let's give her a hand. That's Andrada. Thank you for volunteering, though you didn't. I volunteered her. Okay, so we've heard one plan, and some of you have developed one plan. May I suggest now you pass the baton to somebody else at your table and work on a second plan? Okay, again, everybody helps and works on a plan, but for one person it's your plan, but everybody else is helping that person. Same task, clear? Okay, let's go. So Lars, are you ready? Okay. Good. Oh, not a very good catch. We may have to have somebody else share.
Okay, so I'm representing IKEA, where I work in procurement, and we are driving a digital transformation, implementing SAP and a couple of modules related to that. And it's a major transformation that has already taken a couple of years and will take another couple of years. And my reflection from this event has been that we have been way too technically focused in this transformation, and we need to take the people dimension into it much more. So that's the key challenge. And who will do what then? Well, we are a dedicated team. Like I said, I work myself 100% within this project together with hundreds of other people. And I think what I can do is really to influence the others within the project team, that we need to focus more on the people dimension and mostly on communication and change management. And a discussion we had around the mindset here comes to where and when it will be done. Because normally I would have thought that we would need to align this approach internally with all relevant stakeholders, secure that everyone is on board before we start something up. But now it struck me that perhaps this is an area where we should beg for forgiveness in case something goes wrong and just start doing it instead of waiting. So how will it be done? Well, I think the good things that we have in this project is that we have all the cash already, we have it all funded, we have the project team is there. It's all in our own hands to go out and implement. So it's a matter of how we do it. And there I think this more entrepreneurial mindset could serve us really well.
Thank you, Lars. Nicely done. Give him a hand, please. So we've done, I think, 2 plans at most tables. Shall we do a third? Are you game? I see some heads nodding. For those that are nodding, we'll do it again. For those that are not nodding, we'll do it again. Okay, so we've got another 10 minutes or so. Let's take somebody else's act now issue and everybody help that person develop a plan for how that's going to be taken forward. Okay, let's go. Do we have a volunteer? Fantastic. Okay.
The key challenge I have is to get a business model at all, because it's a complete new business model which will be different to what we are doing currently, and finding a...
Hold the mic closer.
Okay. Let's see whether I can still read what I have there. Okay, so my challenge.
You need 3
we
hands,
start.
don't you?
Pardon?
You need 3 hands for this task.
Yeah, I figured that out. I figured that out that I needed this in my chemistry studies, but back then I didn't figure out how to get it. Maybe you invent it now. So, starting again louder. What key challenge I have is getting a business model at all, because it's a disruptive business model we are looking at, and creating a business case. And who will do what? Well, I have to create a story and tell a story, paint the picture of the future if we do not do it, because we have had a good idea at the table here. Providing a business case of the cost of learning versus the cost of losing, and maybe something in between. I need to convince the person who will sell it in the future, the segments called in our case, but also the CEO, as we learned this morning. No CEO, no party. And
we're
then,
all going to remember that, right?
Yeah,
No
it
CEO,
was
no
great.
party. No team, no party either.
As well, that's a segment. That's a second part of it. So these two we need to add. And then by when will I do it? Well, that's difficult, but I already took action in order to get there. Let's see when we'll do it. I have no idea about the timeline, but I will convince the first people next week when I come back.
Cool.
I think so.
All right. Thank you, Birgit.
And I need people to realize it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. As I said the other day, for those who weren't here, there's a book, a really good book, that will help you learn how to put these principles into practice in your business. Each of the 6 core chapters deals with one of the 6 mindsets, and the back half of each of those chapters is about what can you do to make this happen in your company. What can you yourself do, and what the lessons are from the stories that are told. Again, based on 20 years of research, these mindsets run counter to what you guys experience in your companies every day. They run counter to what my colleagues teach at London Business School. Unfortunately, you can't buy the book until January because it's not in print yet. So here's one of the Amazon sites. It's available on all of them. If you want to do bulk orders, send me an email. You can do that. If you want me to come to your company and do a workshop, let me know. I'm really excited about this material, and I want to make it happen. So, what are the questions you might have before we wrap up? Good catch.
Which of the behaviors do you think, in your experience, is the most difficult to drive in a large corporate organization?
So the question, if you didn't hear it, was which of these is the most difficult to drive in a big company? I think the honest answer is they're all difficult to drive in a big company, because big companies just don't work this way, right? I think they're all difficult to drive. And so I think what you need is just a starting point, a place where you can drive a wedge, perhaps, and say, well, I'm going to pick one of them, that deals with a particular issue I've got now, where I think I can make some progress. And interestingly enough, when I did the research for the book, I studied a bunch of entrepreneurs, and in a sample of 138 entrepreneurs, all of whom are running successful, fast-growing businesses, what do you think was the mean number of these 6 principles that they put to work in their business? Anybody care to guess? You think it's all of them, just 1 or 2 of them? What would you guess? The mean answer was 3.4.
I was going to guess 4.
Yeah, so
Not too far off.
pretty good guess. So it's not that you have to do all these things all the time,
Okay.
but they are different tools that are useful when you encounter different things. Back to the definition of a mindset, it's what your mind tells you to do when something comes your way. And I think if we can match up these mindsets with the opportunities that come your way, that's how you're going to make progress. It'll be an opportunistic kind of progress.
So it's sort of back to like the problem definition point, isn't it? So if you start with your problem, where you are at any given time, and then, drive accordingly from
I think so.
these.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Another question here.
Oh, I don't think I can throw that far.
Thanks. Yeah, I was thinking about your mindsets in the corporate environment, and one thing occurred to me is that, the risk versus reward for being an entrepreneur in a MNC, I would propose as being asymmetrical. Because if you're an entrepreneur on your own, the payoff is potentially huge, right? Become a millionaire, whatever. So that's a real draw, right? So, just kind of following through in a multinational, the risks are quite high. You're disrupting, and there's a lot of pushback, and you need to kind of punch through that with some of these mindsets. Totally get that. But the reward potentially isn't there because, the business will succeed. Yeah, you're a shareholder, whatever, that's great. And so I'm not saying it's zero, but it's different to being an external entrepreneur. How have you seen multinationals address this? For example, giving entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs equity or other methods. I'm interested to know if you've seen that happen and how that risk can be rebalanced to try and generate intrapreneurs using these mindsets.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think my answer would be, in a word, poorly. Now, we did hear the guy from NL this morning and talk about what they had done. So my sense is it takes one individual at the right place at the right time, where there's a CEO that comes to the party, as we just heard, and there's a team that comes to the party. It takes somebody to kickstart this. I don't think it's commonly done. I don't think these mindsets are all of a sudden going to get adopted in lots of big companies just because I wrote a book. It's not going to happen, right? There's too much resistance. Risk is a dirty word, right, in your companies? Is that fair to say? Risk is a dirty word? We do a lot of exec ed at London Business School, and for a while the exec ed people wanted me to do some, I study entrepreneurship, and they wanted me to do some stuff on entrepreneurship for these big companies that come through. And I did that for a while until I discovered that actually these companies don't want to be entrepreneurial because there's risk involved in being entrepreneurial. And so they like the idea until they discover there's some risk and some failure involved, and then they say, no, thank you, right? So you guys have an extraordinarily difficult time, an extraordinarily difficult challenge to get some of this done in these organizations. But there are examples we've heard here at this conference where it is being done, right? And you guys have chosen, by the roles you've chosen to play in your companies, to look at that risk-reward trade-off and say, well, for me, it's okay. I'm happy to take on this challenge. So I don't think we have to worry about the big risk-reward trade-off. I think what we have to worry about is our own. And if we're happy to give this a go and see if we can make some progress, then we'll see where it goes. And worst case, you find an opportunity and your company says no and you leave and you do it yourself, and then the risk-reward will be right there.
Thank you.
Great question. Do we have any other questions? We've got, Katerina, we got a couple more minutes yet, or are we out of time? One more? One last question, if we have one last question. Yes, right there.
Hi, hello. So I was wondering if you applied this methodology already in a corporate, and if yes, what was the feedback? And if no, when will you do that? And what do you expect are maybe the barriers to apply this in a corporate, in a big corporate?
I'm sorry, I missed one word. You asked if I had applied it where?
Your methodology, your this,
Yeah.
you know, what we just did. So
Yeah.
if you tried this to, you know, in a corporate and to see if this can be the spark for a mindset change.
Do you want my honest answer?
Yes,
This is
obviously.
the first time.
This is the first time,
Yep.
okay.
You guys are the
So,
guinea pigs.
Beta tester, okay.
How
great.
was it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Maybe we need more time for the
Yeah.
explanation, I would say.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
No, this is the first time. The book's not out yet, right?
Okay.
So when Axel asked me to come, I said, I have a new book. This would be a good time to try out some things and see if this works.
Okay.
So I'd welcome any feedback if you guys catch me around. But this is the first time. But
Okay, yeah.
maybe your company will be the second time.
Okay, great. Thanks anyway.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for being engaged. I really appreciate it.